Subscribe and hit that bell icon to be notified about the highlights of India's smartest podcast, The Ranveer Show. This is TRS Clips. Both tigers and sharks have these like little dead eyes, dude. Like I want to say it's like full of emotion and dead at the same time. Do you know what I'm talking about? Little dots in the middle of the eye messes you up. Like I remember about this referencing that same Bhopal zoo I went to. It's called Van Vihar. So they say that the tiger they've kept there is a man-eater, like so-called man-eater. And the moment you're near that cage, so they've obviously kept in like this massive enclosure, right?
Yeah.
So you go through one vihar and you see different open enclosures. They've got one open enclosure for crocodiles, open enclosure for elephants. And what I mean by open enclosure is a massive field separated by like a water body.
Okay.
So they can't reach you. And at the edge of the water body, they have sort of a kind of not a cage, but like sort of a heighted piece of land. So as you're going through the park, you get to see crocs, you get to see like elephants. Deer are free to roam in the park. So as you're going on the road, you just see a deer like kind of sprint across. But I remember that specific enclosure with the tiger. So they stopped the vehicle like about maybe 30 feet away from the cage. And even in that 30 feet ka radius, you feel some strange energy.
Okay.
Like I don't know what to describe it as, but I felt like it was strange energy. And they said, okay, we've reached the tiger enclosure now. And they tell you to stay quiet, which makes it even more eerie because everyone's quiet around you. And then you get off your vehicle, and as you go closer to the cage, you can feel more and more eeriness. Because that animal is so massive, and they've told you it's a man-eater. It just has a vibe that it spreads. You know, this dominant energy that it spreads. And then you go up, and it's 2-3 tigers are just in that cage, chilling, vibing. They're not chilling. They're probably extremely sad that they're in a cage, but they're just there, and that energy is taking over. And I'm vlogging because I'm a YouTuber, and I'm talking to the camera. I'm saying, oh, we've reached the tiger enclosure, whatever. I go up near the cage, and the guy who kind of sits and like looks over the cage, he says, don't go any closer because it can pounce at the cage, and if even one of its nails hits you, you might have to get a rabies shot.
Right.
And a lot more than a rabies shot probably. So the moment he said that, I shat my pants a bit and I put my phone down and I looked up at the tiger. And I saw these two like dead eyes just staring at me. Then it looked away for a bit. I kept staring at it, then it looked back at me. To kind of see that, okay, is this guy still looking? But the second time it looked back at me, I felt like it scanned how I taste, how I smelled, what my thoughts are, everything. And I couldn't maintain eye contact. I just looked down out of respect and fear. And it's behind a cage. It's not even in the wild. And when you see photos of sharks, I feel like there's the same look in those sharks' eyes.
Yeah.
Just very eerie, man. But the deal with sharks is you're in the open ocean where it's dark and blue and cold and dangerous. And these animals just dominate that space. So I'm sure you feel that dominant, eerie energy around them.
I mean, it's dominant in the sense that maybe they're not dominating, but one definitely submits to them. And we used to take these swim stops in the middle of the ocean. And of course, no cage. So for most people, it's like, how deep is the water here? So we just stop the ship and we'd put out the life buoy and we'd say, whoever wants to jump, just jump off. But know that there are sharks in the waters and big fish and all. And nobody is really safe. And people would jump off. One, they're jumping into water that is 3-4 kilometers deep, right? Like it's incredible to think that you're bobbing on the surface and there's 4 kilometers of ocean just under you. But very often I'd speak to my friends and be like, why do we jump off? I used to jump off every time. And I feel like a lot of people are like, I'll be okay if a shark takes me. Like, I think it's not to say that I'm taking on death, but it's like, would that be such a bad thing that you jumped off in the middle of the ocean and you got bitten by a shark? It's naive and I know it's probably foolhardy, but in that moment, there's also something about that experience, which you're not thinking about death, but you're like, if it happens, we took the risk of entering its ecosystem. It's not a bad animal. It's just that we happened to be there and it made a miscalculation about who I was. And I think it'd be okay. I mean, not for the others, but I think it'll be okay.
So messed up thought, dude, getting eaten underwater. Because, I've dived, and what people don't understand about diving is what you can't hear underwater. And that's what people find meditative about diving also, that
Yeah.
it's silence, and it's where do you get to hear this kind of silence on earth?
Yeah.
But that's how they look at it, how seasoned divers look at it. If you're not familiar with diving and if you have a phobia of the ocean, that silence can get to you.
Yeah.
Where you can just hear your own tank. Now imagine going through something chomping off your leg in the middle of the water and only you're able to feel the pain. Imagine with someone in your group.